I'm ready ka 87.9 ito bang? Otherwise, yung magklubo ko yung ilsit sin merkumer other belaw loreng sa Igo Paradise FM ng ngalil belaw 87.9 madira kaltigal o mesirgid ra TV ra PNCC matigil ko mesirgid ra live streaming ra PNCC logyo YouTube ma Facebook malungil tutaw le gor kami el angong luim evidil kapsingila ong tru ilbuy long edel urior temela press conference sirgid ma mo ba press conference sirgid madam Vice Presidente Minister of Justice Che Udo Usangbaw Senior Direk ngani Minister Slobengel ngani Charles E.R. Obiang Minister Public Infrastructure and Industries Madirek Honorable Tel Chengin nga Minister Education Madirek Tangakal Gustav Aitaron Minister State Marbebi Larges Tergidel ngani Mr. Arnel Worswigel Director Bureau of Health Administration MHHS Miss Lucy Saal, Acting Director of Bureau of Fisheries, Miss Jennifer Anson, National Security Coordinator, Matokobet sa Gestergi del Diraibay Benita Darong, el Altuta Diraibak mo on Tirateal Makmamlulu, Direkal ngani Adra News Lobengel ngartial ngani ngirmang Moses Eludong nga Dodongali nga tia belaw, Mr. Salvador Talam sa PWFM TV and Radio, mga wakla TMC. Ebo kung tira dira ibay benita rong bolbus kitang lungu el tutaw Vice President tebo mamura el dadam.
Madam malungil tutaw ti alal meral gire dal muatay memrenga sulela Dios kadang artia roguy o merang alwasya arubak kal Dios anya ara elek langar gidara bekal sils. Al mongusel tingin el nga Salma 118:24 al meral kumurgi dal wase this is the day that the Lord has made and we need to rejoice and be glad in it. Pol sab edel meral me warngu dal nga tial silsa yakmal nga ruet tial tokubet sal nga silsa kami ar muteling ar tial el belur belaw bon nga time mal di bodo dar siang lunguet nga ra eda nga Dios. Rubak kal Dios, hagi mergar el altutaw, emeral momrenga sulim, ol nga sargaw ti al sils. Sil tingin meruba kal meral nga Jeremiah 29:14, alwas se obumosi nga, yakamomti nga, al sum kamul odar nga kalobarong umurogir. Adam al Dios, ol sa paamel meral nguatay, memeral momalmol, mlosi garkaw, raigero kulto koil kama mga nga al ser el al sils, mabek al sils. Yakmal nga rueruba kakulingit raklangal tangat al memoyit tertiar room mortir kal tira amutling tertial belumam akyolingit raklangal tangat tamabud yakmal nga ruey halom sereng maklam denge ilnya nga rakal merkamam kamral puro kamam melwasengel nga song sralom sereng leperngak maklam denge ebok sangal dimi mokla agimral merkaruba gemral nga song selmerang astule melgirela asab akle me edam el Dios el gire laklangar kamam mabeluma melbelaw bolemol melmasab akkar kamam yakmal nga ruey eda oreng rakaw polo bantiri tirkaro kuil tirang artyang el gire laurayora babeluma melbelaw yakmal nga ruey pol modang sangklem ebo gibureng asaw el gire legero ultokoil kamam mangatmok karabe kalsils yakmal nga ruey geder siya Vice President el ngiyam momutling ngiyam orar tial meeting el alsils yakmal nga ruey kamamarogul ng artiang material ng artia publicity ay gamu odang sam mo ontmam omreng alsaw rakamam el ngarang claim kaul Dios al odam madios al ngal madios al edaureng al mga daretara ulmi el almurar bolaway say amen.
Amen. Man masaula dira ibay rakmat klubokol ngumu el altam Madam Vice President ako di ulgyung lekorkam bomdo tingin el tutaw.
Ada malmasal blase malungil tutaw happy Wednesday o malmasar tel alan sa edal kukmutal me yakapte ang nga press conference ma pokto susrigi dal mura kotal mura ibadul ma rubukol bela dalat kay ibadul malmol mal nga ukarul Diri ka bolse dal lot kia Uong Ruyos. And may passed away a few days ago. Kandola ito lat karingira ang lungo et. Diri kalmal lungil total mara bilong mar sila belaw. Diri kalmal lungil total mara president ra Senate ma rogul senator sama Speaker Anastasio marogul delegates. Diri kalmal lungil total mar minister samlo sabi ilal mer el al total kita mtingel waset to our ministers rol bangela president of Island. Mira la minister Udoy, ma minister Victor, lo bangela president al Morsel triple mora Glasgow, mang tamla reach Morsel conference ra COP 26. Dire kal malungit total mora Chief Justice ma rogul nga judiciary. Malungil total mora medial mo sabi ilme al total dira ko malungil total mora rogul al director sa ngayon director Warswi kama dira kal acting director sa mo sabi joiner kita el al total ma national security coordinator ngartia kita mdengen wasya era tabo the sa updates from Tirgel Minister sa kuk mo sabi ilme Minister Obiang Minister ay tarong Minister Jenkins. Minister mutulam latang earlier gimle adodo ending mlo girel join ra conference by Zoom ra 9:30 mang mutakal si elo bangeda el altutaw. At ako amlamil wa sa President ri the President Surangal Whips Jr. Mlo sabi el mga adodo ra high level meeting amlaring ra New York. Mangkam milanga adodo sel girela delivering climate action for people, planet, and prosperity. Nga segi di maray lokong al Mortial Cup 26. Madibok ra samaray sa bebira ala president ang mal suadrong siya president tarigi dal mga tutul gilel tel tora climate change. Modekal sabi dal ngul kol on YouTube or link mang tibok ra samaray sa gel bebira tingingel ang mal meron ko ay silwa sa mang mlo mga dodo president wase marong ulam no sabi el ngari tegi dal high level debate mo discuss a climate crisis prior to the COP 26 meeting. Mang mga dodo Mr. President mulwase tegi dal threat ra climate change amla wayal cause devastation al mera klangarigit ar other ngara yagi the Pacific Small Islands Development States. Mang ikal mo mre kalay mera kada mesa talang akle da makalet maiga namirgi da health tergi dal affected by tegi the climate crisis. Dire kalmlo o spare tiagi dal tokorbela el Miguel ola itnger mong marong udol wasa president tamal blo oil dia kalobe sa aigel klabela argi metiagi da ne tegingel el dili el girela Palawan Proverbs, el Koraway al Bolungil Smodia tial efforts ergi da gel urere dal girel tegi dal tora climate change. Mamlok mulwa se ala taba da sid egadong wa aroida. Mangwayal sel moyu den wasel sungo madangara ay gagi dale emlaira daob eng sabe dal sungo madamo tal al miyus eng sabi edal ngwa roida. Matiaya mal di waisel kuk ola itngerar adra Afrika. Alwasel sugomen suamal mare edal mong edi bongol di galtang. Dil sugomen suamal mare edal ngwa roida em takaroko ngar omral mong. So tamal orang asula Mr. President tamal motmerong de mal mo proud sel drink say gagi dal al mal di galobe sel wasegi da dial klabela orgid dia ya di kese radio se gira del mga bolbornya mga mokani gira latal arol lan maralmay mang koramlo endal mulwase our collective action as custodians of the earth will ensure the transfer of our lands, our ocean, and our cultures to our future generations. Mga lera tial lul adal wase bodada ka roguy ulsi edal gut makliaw riol girela o sa aklela ay gidel mikikrel balura taheyo because of ay gidel ngal dongod or ngal ela weather gid climate change. Tirigal mal swakal announce alwase el almel October 28 5:30 mo 9 p.m. ra koksay eng moringi sel mo mang ngong lola ma 6th anniversary pala National Marine Sanctuary. Amal masawla Mr. Talam sa kome sa kamolay baringi na PWFM 89.9 direk mamsala PNCC ta direk kamolay baringi. Ma programa arsegi dial kapsingi amon nga Master of Ceremony jante ito ma Andrea L. Moringi ay kagitali boots moringi aldo kanang angan nga tokobet sa leadership cook-off ma judging and tabulation among please mga lera bakla adaro kung masabi iral mo nga ko sa segi dal kapsingay yang ania free transportation among for that evening segi dal celebration al morning el almel longya walurior October 28 2021 ay kita ko radi black tu nga ania tiklutal laway silwase matrigalul manggela president whip sel mortial omra el mlora COP 26 ang ania Minister Victor, Ambassador Ilana Seed, Senate Vice President Caray Mayur, Delegate Sebastian R. Marino, Mafe, ang ania staff from Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Environment, and Long, ngar Office of Climate Change, Ministry of Finance, Chief of Staff Landisang Kotaro, Manggel Secretariat ra our Oceanal, ang kagitali Bridge Thomas. Makora din ulmor segi dahil lang ako ka-yield rawlalan mo tikal minister sa pol sabi iral mo updates regel respective al ministry tir. Malaway sek paka kumualal morakabe minister obiang.
Sulang Vice President malungil tutaw le warkaw ma arbeklat akti mo ang tial tial le mas kita update trigger tial trip no lingar Pulwana ma Asonsoro State na kamnom saura tial plodom ter kaw ma NEC el lulbanggela Minister Jenkins ra MOE ma Ambassador Karasawa ma Governor Asonsorol Governor Aquino material rowil adan no sa bariran ngartial trip omraila till of the afternoon Wednesday tanomregal Wednesday atu tawra ngara 5:30 mama apar karsel likrela almola Pulwana netelgibel ko sa kodala dol ang matam ni advisory gidal wasim kom di mere edrulia ceremony kada marale lagi mo dakal sabe edal yang lakra almol nga regal ertan mablum no sabe edal gut makli gutilo dara Pulwana ra 9 AM marail mora Asonsoro guk mo ngat mokra hand over ceremony say magibong yang ngara swel bang 1 o'clock mo agi rulia hand over ceremony markoy ya 5 o'clock agi two of them maral may magimne guk ne aray para ang amala ar segidal 2 tawra Friday so basically ang dimne tal silsil igimoru legal tablol hand over ceremony Minister Jenkins sasabihin mo maskida detail ra project ra solar system al Nora School di Vice President me bok mutal te alalang bok banggela Minister Jenkins sama Ambassador Karasawara Siawal ma Governor Aquino boda tersi omrengal Saul Mora ang kalem acting chief Emerson alingia kumatingel wasing tirmarwa executive director anemo marbekla director moola education ne plan arrange tial trip di by mal klulom rengal saula morengel commanding officer akadam. Ameis ngirmeril mengel chief executive officer al Jim Cloulat. Ma tirigero will crew rakadam. Irma ida ado reng se atoy ma ise diriger meger di tirigel crew rakadam sera jim top ramalal en mal nebel duk la gel teletele omrael tul mas kama ma gel safety briefing ma ateletele la dalang okra kadam masera gi mei matelilu tel maduring ra trip matak mal neger gikla gel ngarali no tel gibel masar ngokra tamal well discipline ala raudelir ya omrael dauber segidel dodengel wasi dakal suel mo daka adel ngarawat sertial bilas rabekal time len sebe edel masa maklulo tawra lo beko do siwe klabe bira meng o mangat maklel tial bilas mendire kal mal di nakatal time el dewe sa komil di peri draulaw ne elo iterbe buladek mnari keren makatek tal time le tirgel ngarawat sa angaringi marbui gel maintain tial bilas sama tadire kal mal ne ungi laurelir meng akmal mot makam tirga rogul adel gim dilakal ngara trip pe mal merenga sulir ramne ungi laurelir esel ne kotel ngara babal البلاد absorbing irtira al sum tamasigi dal ngarger etemem togeri gidal wasendi ungil basum bekel time el top dra gel cabin artial kadam el merbe buladek etemal advisory gidal wase please evam inform rar adal ngarawats bolo dingel waset kataanye ekom telang al ngarbe buladek relal time akadim naksal kora meringar ngakaleng agi small ngara da bandir wasado ile di ngara sers agi rel gerge klawa ye gitu kata bagi kertiral to oral mol mang ayel bago ay sergamiu aye dia atele tial omrael edi uer omogere sa doktul wasen dim nakamal side event tial omrael agi mal dim no hendo obere mar ol mutel al meima akti Minister Jenkins sa mosbel ko ay segel komakay lomsodela tial handover le project nora Ministry of Education ma school regel tablol blue diger diregal mal mo merenga sulela ar other si ay gal tablol blue man welcome rigid man ne ngil si ngela ay gel ceremony el tira gil moklu ko la ba gel naring irtir mang kadil mutal mal merenga saule wase polseb edel diregal mo rigikla ay gel guklo wala uspe rigit tiga gidal adadal lorur tayga lorore boda kay nga seul bekla adal kuk mosutri ay gel mo ngal sang sira ay galoro again Vice President kada mal merenga sulela commanding officer near Meril ma anggale klowlaat executive officer tigero will crew ra kadamara amal mle safe comfortable lomrael el mora southwest teme musulang
Kang sala Minister Obiang matata sa te alo ko nga Minister Education man sa PLL mo book update tar kita
Vice President. I just want to add a few things to what Minister Obiang had just said. That for the first time over the seas for myself, I was a little nervous, and I wanted to really point out that the crew, the captain and the crew, are really, really remarkable. High degree of professionalism, and at the same time, kind. And they did a wonderful job of our orientation, so we knew what we could do and what we couldn't do. And I think everybody obeyed them except for Minister Obiang, but that was expected. But when we actually were, this is a part of a project which is funded by the Japanese government as a part of their PALMS agreement. And we were putting in two solar power systems, which will generate enough solar power for actually for everybody on the island. But they are located at the school and right now dedicated to the school. They have battery backup, full battery backups, and so that regardless of the weather, they have at least 3 days of solar power packed away in the generators. I'm sorry, in the batteries. The other thing which I thought was really impressive was Ambassador Karasawa was a wonderful traveling companion for one thing, but he also kept pointing out that he was the first Japanese ambassador to ever set foot on Pulawana and then on Sonsoro, and he seemed to enjoy the trip a great deal, and it certainly helps for him to be able to see the result of his funding. It's really remarkable. As an educator, I look sometimes at just the figures of the schools, and I see X number of students and X number of teachers and X number of dollars. Until you come down and you actually see what they're doing with their money, you realize that those children are priceless, and that whatever amount we need to spend to keep those schools in action, we need to do it. This was actually not a very, very expensive project. They come in at about $60,000 each. We've done two. We're going to finish the next one on Tobe and hopefully be finished with that in November, at which point all of those three islands will have full electrical power. And they're also already planning to be able to use it in the evening so the students can have study hours, so they can go there and work on their homework at night with decent, better illumination from the power. And we are when the Tobe project is completed, our next step will be to hook up their radio so they can radio transmission with the islands, and emergency contact only at that point, and only voice, nothing else. And I really wanted to again go back and commend the crew of the Katam. I can't speak highly enough of them. They were great, and they took care of us, and they helped us up and down that ladder, getting up through the surf sometimes, even though it's only 3 or 4 feet. That's high when you're on a boat. But I felt very comfortable with them, and they did a wonderful job. Also, which going on with the ministry, this week we are starting our new hot breakfast program, which is new, and it's being piloted at Palau High School this week, and it will then be in November go to all schools. And I want to compliment Breen DeMay, who is our food specialist program officer, and she has done a remarkable job in setting up a menu and making the scheduling arrangements for the cooks and all of the cleaning and everything that needs to be done for us to essentially double the number of meals we serve. We'll now be serving 4,000 meals a day to the students. And breakfast, of course, is a critical meal, and we want everybody. Convincing high school students of that is not easy, but we're working on that, which is one of the reasons we wanted to start with the high school, so we would be getting the tough audience first. And that is now in the second day of operation. Next, I have some very good news regarding professional development for our faculty. Our program with the Palau Community College and the University of Guam is now underway. It's in its second week, and we were just notified by the university that the individual faculty members will be eligible for financial assistance from the university as well as from federal programs. So we'll hopefully be able to use that to reduce the cost for the ministry. But we're working on that as time goes on. And then finally would be next year's school calendar is available. It's been given out to the leadership team, and it is a year-round calendar. And as we discussed at the, I guess 2 weeks ago meeting, the basic concept is to take summer and shorten it and put in more frequent breaks at the end of each quarter. At the end of each quarter, there'll be a 3-week break, and Christmas is a 4-week break, spring is a 3-week break, and then summer is about a 4-week break. So just to prepare you all, school will begin on July 13th, a little earlier than usual, but that's to accommodate all the changes. It has incredibly significant advantages for all the students, as well as teachers. And I don't think I can go. I don't want to go through those right now, but you'll see when it is worked out. The full use of it it's a much more advantageous for students. And that's the basic question we ask. Is this going to help student learning? Yes or no? And it was yes. It's definitely yes. So we're now proceeding on that. And I think that is all I have.
Oo. So lang yung Minister Jenkins. Eklutan mo na Minister Obi ang araw era por Minister Itaro.
Pais komeng aktiul besrawan aigel solar system lighting system logyo aigel solar nora school fulwana mason sorol aigel school ngirama nga dire ka low spell evacuation center mang okmong moring akora asesiliol tangarang en sabadil moraige eungil olbidla e dire ka sabadil recharge aigel rechargeable lotoy langarang sabadil charge o giwa sige dal system mang dakadil blal musutria ngal kara school hindi rekal mo musutria atrablo al boringi oyu ngaranye mo sa ilul durung leungi olbida rapply ilul durung rin so
Mr. Minister Bianga awera albora Minister Itaro di klutolo ay sulwase tegi del October 28 al morngira koksal pala National Marine Sanctuary Anniversary ya grand prize a grand prize ngara surveillance run rara maligat to full day trip for 15 people lo giusegi del division of marine law enforcement mga madar arvekla adala civil se edal mo trigagi da minister obi ang minister Jenkins mal kuradi amater sel ko ka le trip partil ngara kadam malguk por ngariya te eledal guk mo mesa triple ko koya kara maligat tu so sel price a full day trip for 15 people ma segi di October 28 among sel grand prize sa tabdila koksay malaway sila kok pa sa te alan mo minister ay taro
Saudi Vice total moral ministers mar directors mar adra press media Vice akmal di mo report tele nomregal Sunday temnania OBF belau ako te bay mal me do nga saul mar rubak mal me wilayang ado mal me wilayang sil tal sil direk agum tera coacher nga kra mamra nga gidele Mr. Right Matul kay da vice president na mos modi mos mo daxe bel mere alto taw maktimo summarize ay kal kora di mrenga saul di mrenga sulera governor siska oto martika rubara ngat pang mar adar ngat pang o gilingel mo host tel OBF gi de git maklisel basyo tamal masaw le de mal mo mrenga sulera speaker a house mar president a senate mar ad olbil lu mentri me et dire que lungil da silse vice le ambassador Miguel amnesio apple mar tel ya mo de mas no grulo di himera point me attend tel OBF mal masaw ambassadors mar tigal colleagues ra ambassadors sa Siabal ma Taiwan de ma Australia akte mal limitat ale de vice mal mase brenga sulit tigal participants sa le Parade of Nations te abek karakal ka di mal maptoka participants ri de lo oti tel markli belar gid mase ka mal all welcome ra adrang od blul ewa mut mokerti te de mal brenga sulit adr belaw la accept tir ngal ba ngal tel ket tel blul belaw mo kamal masaw adr belaw de kamal masaw tigal keste gid ngal tel belum akte vice la maldi momrenga asulira tigal adra committee leadership ra minister matul mal migit paklit tel OBF mal klobogol mal william mal organized akte kamrenga asula state government tigal adra state governments ra gel but sertir to mal masaw leng ngadi mirala otrula klal mo bilgol tiam le gel momrenga 6 ya klut el momes mlam abdullah 7 dori to mal masaw la governors mal adrir tigal adra committee vaisa dire mal masaula ngora mal wil time rel aling katuka di mrenga sulir adra minister justice tian omra kamari lo mak dire malum tera coachet motule vaise mal di odersia mal mrenga to gobet saul mur tigal per police mar tigal ngal police academy they conducted themselves with professionalism and mercy mal wil mo odwar ad mal di mlaka korak klol road mal organized a parking mo tedigal mal help pra public makmal oli tra adra blue masem digal bester police mrenga sulir tirgem le police academy mo hotel Aulis aklar bar bulis umurtikal nga police academy vice makamhal masaul. Imal masaul adam. Aktikal mal ingutel te ale mal di last maseme ko mrenga sulela co-chair ngi right matura leadership ringi mal adal. Ya mal mlewngil OBF mal mlo I don't know nga so far di ka tukon namel gira complaints at gira ngidil part tel tukon OBF mong alangariya gira welcome kadu improve ranex. Ni sa gira bok report niya vice ka mal masaul.
Man masala minister ay taroy. Ito ang wate aler lang mo masang kay acting director Bureau of Fisheries. Ang kalemis sa Lugosi sa Alambol sa Ilgok report Ministry Agriculture, Fisheries and Environment.
Sulang vice martikal members sa cabinet martikal adra media ng artiang ako di mo ngate ale mo ay sabi bira rere la sel ministry gidra to rasers ma umnged ma lukelaklangar ako te sera etel numero kal sabado ngara kapsengay ya tegi del ministry amlo bangel sel ministry minister ng right motu sel MHRCTV amle host event tegi mo kodong ngil wase akale dangar alet banquet etel banquet ako amle mokti karingi wase kadokor amma osenget lo meser tirgegi del adal omkoro ulakale dengara odimet al waset tamal klo contribution ertir mera food security tirgeder rokul adar belau magire la kukti development industry wawat tourism masel event tamle happen ra sabado sel eve sel OBF event on langi ra koksai nengar 58 tel ada show aber tel event tel event ako dimne invite only hindi ka basyom dim nakasal sa amal accommodate to kalat so amne sabihin me joiner tel event His Excellency Surang Alwibs Jr. President Travel Belao makawe vice amne cabinet members and sabihin me amle Minister Victor Minister Matul Minister Aitaro Minister Jenkins Diri kan lang yung omteer adra Senate, mamle Senate President Hokons Paules, Senator Sangabaw, Senator Mangasaw, Senator Inabo, Senator Sungino. Ya House yung kuknalang yung omteer til Speaker Anastasio, mle accompanied by Delegate na Nays Swalablay, Delegate Umetaro, Delegate Marino, Delegate Talay. Diri kan mlarnya tikagi del sa ali del adarangod albalun medyo energit mo mlarnya ambasador Siabal mapiil mlarnya umteera embassy rabdura marigel ngel radila wal qorom ter sel USAID diri kan mlarnya ambasador Australia diri kan mlarnya ambasador Taiwan so tigil ko ramle sa alida omteagel sa alida balun nganya presence tira belaw diri kan mlarnya adra Chamber of Commerce diri kan mlarnya member tigil Media Council diri kan mlarnya other cell Taiwan Technical Mission al qoram ne join event yamle highlight tel event Vice President mlarnya tel del mesteri mga adura 24 adra sers ma adra umanged edire ke Minister Jenkins mlarnya tel del nganya bebir tigel mrula gal schools al me attend mangelo ngara sel food program ra hospital etel event akora wal cellular la ministry waseng makarang about understand edo oyeng ertir kaigi del tira amakasail ngar belal nguk tel klon ngara algirela okurula kalet ma hangara otimet mang tialurio Vice President agora amle invite ra tedel chef ra balur belau el me marula gal el karogul gal la the source ra sela balur belau matrigel chef amnanganya chef tange malsol ngarnya chef krik pesong ngarnya imol chef retira Shabal Misyoko Morisaka nga chef sel Tori restaurant etirang amlo ko ka dishes el kora main protein awan ang ilo angir yawan ang ilo babi yawan ang ilo amalka so tirgel ni attendee tel event amlo nya tel mangar may gagi del kal di rule di nugrol or kadingila al sela blur belaw Etial event tadiri kal kora parte selurere la ministry luase makarang about understand ang kal adal ngi karula kalet. So we're trying to kora come up with a profile sertir kay kital at. So nga kora di mo name a few, this is not all. Di tayo the running list mangaring niya rakusuk wasisa nga niya sabal takada Norman ngira taabot. Ayos Rudim, Rusty Rodas, Chan Oib, Joseph Diob, Jimmy Jonas, Donatus Francisco, Ani Tirso, Caleb Takriw, Oisabok Obacarbao, Kenneth Mareb, Joe Wilson, Kelly the May, Carmelo Ibutirang, Calistus Ginturong, Kasawal Bishop, Kirungil Marcelino, Jan Scabong, Elena Tamol, Lydia Ngirmeril, Irang et ka last name ringi ma tirigay kita ko rawal tirigay adal blal ministry already ta avela services la ministry ya kama ma-understand gina mga atu tira na sa tira ta ngara lom karo lalo ta ngara 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 lo mga talang ngaringi e malamol malmarurut yang so gimalaw rin nga suli rabel adal me attend the event particularly Ministry of State sa ila pala sa ma Randil me ko broadcaster tagi del event. Segi del next day OBF as en maringira koksay. Diri kan maringira budra igal tel ministry mam maringira igal 3 bureaus amne represented. Yamle men el mukti karsel buda de kadil wasagi ko amne provide osong la tamira el mala survey el gire la perception na adra balul gire la urel tel ministry rikid. Ege agibo muspe el waseng makaranga da ko refine programs el maral se del deliver o nga certir kay kitel at al tira akora angara food sector na palur belaw. So hopefully by the next press conference yang ay gigil ko ra dairal el mo omes. E dire kal sel upcoming event sa gidel PNMS 6th anniversary el ang yung Guktimo Bureau of Fisheries sa mga nga butang year mo continue manay gidel survey. E dire kal ko ra nga games sa ira adel low sokol yang nga prices some free prices so kumong en sera survey nga nga TL malwina price so hindi kay kita ko ra riore as Vice President mentioned Minister Victor traveling with the President and Morsel COP26 the Cell Conference of the Parties Cell UN Convention on Climate Change at yang nga Glasgow Scotland ya minister mo mga dibu sa level Sunday if I remember correctly ang arrive on November 14 mga gikora di hold down the fort emru legal lurior al so mga nga kora klodub he's available every day virtually so right now yung overnight ra San Francisco and then kluko yung top del maral mura Glasgow so hindi kay kita kora sa report ya so mga nga kora question ya lakad sa pikal enser akmal makadala dal malmurtir gel sa bil enser thank you
kaya man Saul acting director isali era tapos kukreng sa director Darnell edi ko ay sulusan katelo ba menu ang malmlew milakal segi del kaledangar ale da banquet laringa blue marlin teriyaki sheared blue marlin and dragon fruit salad al manewngil edi dahil ko mlay ang langi kala ya por kam laringa paulaw tiang law ting ada ngobengel ay saol ngari ay mo kurso matiti melobengel malme oisi maso stir fry ya malga ko mle huli chicken obengel steam del kangkum mas del amuti malme oisi pakpatngel la kalora amuti ma 1 pan braised chicken ko mle mal ko obengel yasay akmil ko nga kamal sa kakalombak sa kan general menu. It was a wonderful event ko mal masala ministry ra asir so omingi to lugilak langar mada kamal masulang ko nga ta purang kali Director Darnell Warswick Bureau of Hospital Administration and Support Services ko pura report ra Ministry of Health and Human Services.
Masole Vice President yung tutor mabakala da makabinet mulal ma o ay sa update tayo dira to ra COVID so al time dia ka positive case ra belaw direct dia ka ngara quarantine dirigel rogul na mosmera COVID ra al sela bela la recover a total of 8 kada direct kalswa dalo ay salwase as of today ang nga 16,204 other mla vaccinated ra tora COVID-19. That's about 92% ra population argid. Yang nga igel ko ra kuk detail el breakdown ra igel vaccination ma COVID test el bla dagat mok le ye ko ra patokol nga Facebook ma media argid men dia bugul ko di nga gelen sabi el OI sa. Vice President tira kalswa dal mo OI so setial United Air arrive al October 25 am nga 84 passengers emle test negative baka dokora wilarong dal salba akak mundim la ako mo positive ra COVID 5-day tester tira al lang emirur klugo direct sel ko gira Taiwan no sabira 65 al passengers al May of which 40 tira already mle vaccinated makadukok tim lo marusir tirigil bebil kadam longal tangat ra al buila Taiwan embassy mlo sab ilguk donate dongul mena hospital ay nga lumakadong mong high flow nasal cannula niya los other hospital ako lagera doctor magol el wasay ga hospital makarang ya logong increase flora oxygen el selsan mosmera adal gira del intubate tringi instead ra intubate kada hospital del claro ay amle kel del masil el sebe del hospital mora adal mosmera COVID ma kuktir adal in general el mo hospital klol thoraxisen mga malawang asule la sa lida Taiwan embassy governmental malbloel malat kagida kagida kwado ngura gorula di mo two last announcement nga ngani sele US military ship Frank Cable el niable expecting al October 26 mla obos mang modal me kida mangira kuk next el schedule semo mang last di sodalo ay sa while wase hospital Ministry Health and Human Services sama mokra community COVID testing al October dori tia sabadong tia moringira tutaw moringira tia parking lot ra kitra asay bolfield el gora mol mutel more details el girel tia community testing amo gimumalto da radio ma TV ma of course Facebook ma didol ngit travel kal adam al gora di mila yigidel full details el community testing tiang adi mo tabal marbekal direct kal mokte ki daswadal guktirulia klol test al marablo make sure mula sendia ako bidra al sabalwa ora di kay kiti nya ke sulang
Sale director works wige wera da bora donga bolale mesami bien bal kera dik urang asulila tirai bai no te urang asulira selman mengin lungu el alto tau dire kal urang asulela ipang sene nga mamay brel ta saura donation tira el mora koror jail el mo makartir el ngarakalbus dire kal mam sola dirat matpaba sadaria fritz le donate tamongur tamal masaula ay gel donation tira lo ngasiora ay ka kitali tirkal bebili kital ngara kalbus so with that I'll turn over more media for questions.
Tawe Vice President koram no timo meu dama aklam la ngang amil sadar earlier hindi me di bokas ka couple of questions tianga mura Minister mal adira kal Minister of Health clearance solo se tel flight ra Taiwan alme alas tel flight tamle 20 adang el ngania el alweek el amo dia ka ngani eli
Ari nga mirela.
Aya.
Pil.
Maria mer lang ya continue.
Dimno dia kara sarude.
Okay. Mangaringi I guess the Ministry of Health ang ngaringi ako ra disruption ra itigal referral patients and mamaray lalo bang hindi mal
Nataram aware of lo sa mga restructuring nga niya skogi kaya ka
Ola krirang sa terul adam lagi din maray lal matay wang lasit dilo sinda kalora lang takaskogi el albo Mr. Albo
Sel schedule last term no maregal skogi nga niya skogi continue ferry in a live out.
Wasi adimno gakle mesko giringi tan nomre kal sarude ding merelang mera sarude continue etira mla apply ekada approve ra ega gidele application tir ma request tir ra November mon mutra March ra next year.
Okay, mendia ka umesal disruption or tel flight tatlong ulit kita matay wang el almo next month.
Dia ka angles enguk motel malela skogi ngarang tile tala mo informer. Okay. Tira ka ngot an notice atong.
Okay, malungil man sulat tilang. Tira kal ko question at mura minister state. Kadamatang yelo aseng telgibel complicated umra el mura ay gali huriping ilang tukora visa. Nganyar ko ra nganyar adal malas mala visa til mo misrar smel malutut smel ko ra mal na mo makategat takmula sa te issue ra Philippine government hindi ngari ako klase ba ngari nga umo ngalil sa el makatmokol expedite tay ke alubay keng lakuk tingod situation sa ringi.
Saule, ele. Mral tituala dola visa mral huriping nelang. Kumlektra lang taktra, gimla ado amang jale, anoi consular tir di ngal belau, Eric Whips. Unfortunately, di tele consul Philippines nga kwam se issue visa. That's the closest civil help pergi dengi. Ma advice nga kal more other bela maset we go now. Se mo application Eric Whips. Ding gemal mora Philippine consulate nga kwamel at issue ra visa.
Mang balgula sa adal sual mahuriping kirel mora kwame ngar se nga visa ngim ura
Yes. Ngani aldo dura lagi mingel ada nga Manila re lang. Trial work something masing makarada issue tiang. Ni direkal aga policy team we'll have to work with them and was makarada expediting agad especially gat tora grulo. So kita gimana mesing el amal sel bornya update sak mawai so mi.
Since tergar mo pa kakwatri ka malang mes halek total aska bebera questions. Dia ka adi additional question soal logeringi amura luk sangat tengi acting director biro fisheries. Congratulations. The question el gire la egel deital egel el gombalira siabal el ngara era al 20% ra tele isir gidra tokora PNMS ngaringi agora deital dolabel el se el momrengi la seng malwangara klungela angigel mlamngai al sensegi del 20% whether or not tesel sedir gasab el mutal increase ringi kugel lengorang ani uldas el mutal increase raklungela ataw balbot or al seltel PNMS el bot open ringil mor omnge.
Sulang na question. Yes, ang nga data. We can see the data. Of course, seral selpo to compare el morigel previous years, before pre-PNMS. Of course, yung mo kikare level kikare basyo, yung mo kikare makasal dial lang ara makasakyat. So we do have the data, and we do have we will have to check al wasings against the release because I gal omangeda based on a contract sale, babil ang nga contractually tira kilid submit el merikid Hindi ngaringa gigil kuk pebil el korawal confidentiale se kukti so we will have to check with the HL was ngara part ray gigil data asab it release di selo agel data selam adrodre el bor agel regional organizations in top the data arangale la region egorengamos edelomes digel kukti data bela wa kireten mo kiramel mo chigra HL was makaranga kora system is that people will have access to the data like we're bound by these fisheries agreements.
Disige de al pornya ruriule.
Mada malu ngil total morgai vice president ngil minister se mam saur te alle igagi del geral amal dimlut kraulum magote ngaringa ba birra gortul gulmese selgeis raulima lom tera rubar ya gumesa clemen ngaringi lom tera defendants janso lom tera plaintiff el geis el anga am legire schedule ma next year la mo 6 weeks engel jasra la adram rigel tiga gidele amei el anga a question as a current so se kom la dismiss la case o ya taram le consideration as malmering la aigel la albis commercial schedule order mesengil madangel pace maga agriga waseng ya los pera tirgal jasal adram digel el diagal malut adrakom diagal kilo banget diagal odang legit el jasa gal geiser git especially a geiser global masuga tiang kelelu tusual chensering kora malmering le meng agumese sel order li gorgbi malmering kom tasang ase kita taraw ulmo lo diagal hindi isir close to tel to ase gungila lon mol matiang ak madengai alla am lengi le ngwadi nemre alla pase meng sei kita ko to question le o ngere un question la telgi mring sel ngaringia to suema lo lo sula government ram rural la el mom tabe la galus pe la a internet ma ay el togorat ay el tol tuob a video lo ay sel geisra gel principio la modat ngay gal am dang sel geisra gel ada litak na lastir atarardi nomra la balserni ma question la wase o tiagi del PS del ngareng nato ngarngi lo ka internet mar or ay kagi de siasing rar other private or top dia ka gora ulda sul kirela alla almo mutmuk laiga imro halde baydi ku ngai kal gel maskami ya ku kel mora kay sinet minister Jenkins atelar adal ngara apulwana ma sing tobi o sonsoro tigel interal atigal lagagi tul sistema mo sel it's island sing como sing material ngal grasku waseng edek lo sei gel la dengil di maraela sugum mo ule mo dega sei gida halik egorga minister state tial sega de la naringira OBF ma UN la estimate min telar adlil ko ada bela sel disar ada mal masalung dengi de mergo el atela costringi so in terms of igel ludo de spend my time probablemente la atela total costringi engra next year nguk morger poka di big la di lo ormat pange il albrai kan bebida state ay gide oi msulan.
Okay. Makakpa ko mo lokong. Okay. Kamal masara sa egel concern kal gidela ngel justice Cortez. Oh, ngay gidya at chachal tartirgel chachal blel appointer niya President Whips almo Sitra Trial Division ra pala Supreme Court. Ya kung dasal dumadospe el ngaringiya at judges al adram rigela at adakmal makasal ade digaw seguida el geisel o mosadringia adimle conflict tirge rogu el chat el other belao el ngara a trial division le se involving muta about 12 plaintiffs at trialul tutakla tadang terubak abelura ulima mangariar adrir ma alduma damlo sigra tiakal other belal chat mang modiaga conflict el diaga conflict ri men se loreng sertial geis emral mla dismiss mang malungi le sigit sel mle imol geis el kulupang yakom mang laring sel kel wasakan se emal vice presidente en ara court maktul wasing akmila sumal lol tobatar nga kartial geis en ko towar nga ka at justice cortes o sente kan takal se embo de kam adrala artir kangali de kangod ala ma segi del gera pa yung ilabora presidente ngi o basel klisi el malut kara adal wasenta anga muchachara ay ka kitali pelur bela wakti om tas lasing muspaal giren nganya dia kal adal bela le selbo nganya konflik teling ada vika wadal ubeda kau kabli mang motia ka sabira adal alo kita adar bela tiak bela argitin sebeda mal tiak ara se edam barole del mogawat di dokti malungil kadenge kainesel mongeme ngora wablal bol aria conflict argida seguido because of our closer relationship seltora internet ak malomralo se muspaala la ingegidel adra litakal mulqorni seradir kakngara senet mlaringia udaswal mola almilkat mokla endi mlo tiagal mangaro ongerulo mingiwel even though mlaringia committee report malagi adal mutol mo mesani matabayol ngitra please sepom mil abayedro ngitra adra olvira kakalula mo subir el introducer ngi legislation al girela ay gigidel al ngara internet ilang minister bi aswal tiyakan mo kamenta
sulang ya vice ngirmang el altime sera the creator bureau of communication director Pedro Maradal amlaringi consultant tal ngara apek patingel a firm en los bedelo giwa ngesora ala kalbiden world bank ekada hire tiral tarafta igar rule regulation rikit letiab SLO bisel bloduli madiregal tial al traffic rel al provider ngi a cable rikit mang ayge marala uro ringi rel agit tamna start al adraf tamna momrek mtoro lo trigal service provider arwa PNCC ma ayge tigel terror service provider sama dirigel consultant wasing ngwara input tir ma comment tir ayge draft awana mo cloud rural cyber security policy ra kidara balur belaw ekada rogul mo mendengel wasing talgiman manobler seguid el teletair tirgal hackers once el hacker everything goes identity ma rogul tower seguida dolas mal preventing era mal ubel ngaringi a policy rigid ma equipment tar adal train el sabadir el help rigid ay kay marala aurora el anglo baterira are experts el malasamal el finalize ay kay gidel wal kupol policy rigid ra ay galuro communication gimla muur aurolo baterira tirigel el expert ne draft taiga ma service providers tige mo momrek seludor next week emergo getira ko back may gero will comment ma input tirgal service providers el mutal refiner tial egal draft el sukum seguid ya bodog ngeringi endi gimna mga dadurtil wasi tirgal sama mo o mga introduce tiang mora a leadership ra blue especially o ikail tira leng atara aurora dia kadil draft tagel regulation baby tirgal those per tira adrala mata malasa mal lo mes tel ula ai tirgit e direct mo provide necessary amendments and mo improve mo sebela alla ma regulation may yel kuk to tengay deletara communication el al time el mo makalodor el mo address ay al challenge el tirgal hackers marbe birar adel kuk tiureli ra amalamal ato ra communication.
Minister. Oo.
Mr. Langangin. They're very small schools. Student population in Sonsrol is 6, and student population in Pulawana, much larger school, 7. The total populations on the island at that time were 31 in Sonsrol and 28 in Pulawana. I forgot to mention one thing that I did want to point out, that during the installation, all of the labor was donated by the people of Sonsrol, who installed it on their own. However, we did send down representatives, and I wanted to point out that Dean Terry, our PE specialist, gave up a week of his time to go down and to act as the coordinator. He's from Sonsrol, and he then accompanied us on to Pulawana and was able to translate for us to make sure everybody understood. And I wanted to commend him, as well as especially commend Director Ray Maol for coordinating this. I mean, the difficulties of the logistics are significant, obviously, when you're shipping things as far away as that. If you forget one piece, you're out of luck. So there was an awful lot of coordination, and they did a wonderful job. But again, this is an issue of when you see the numbers, sometimes you wonder, is it worthwhile? When you see what's the result of those, the action, it's certainly worthwhile in this case. So, did I get everything? You know. Okay.
Minister Itaro.
Saul, tele ondibul mlanira sera Sunday ngirmang, tamle estimate over 3,000 plus other participate attend. Se tara maklol se dem la mo activities yid. Ya budget ra SLOBF amle 27,000. Ya gim estimate ni dimla ka spend 27,000. Leng nganya tamal masal tikal guk pebe adam ne donate andi bok pas actire. Na sele Mercury ra tele Suran Sons Company amle donate $250 cash. A Blue Bay amle donate $3,000 cash. Ya mal masawla PNCC mle provide a free internet and online feed mle sar adlo gwadi ma online sales direct dik puskumia webira a note asel budget tigidra tel nomel independence amle 97,217.09. Gida mle spend $46,605.01. So ida kadum man klo savings kita kal tablol major events umnar belaw. Dia mal msawla tikal donors mar participants. Ya selmo molil tranex state mo host tikal state government sa amo mage o meeting dia ngakama minister matu la ko rahmal labil mutobar mengat pangiruwa di agab ere. Di ko mal msawla ida ko rahma ya sele detail budget ra tel OBF amo top der al week. Egi mo mas kami.
First question Minister Jenkins about the schools. For the year-round schooling, does that entail the private schools? And also, is there a difference in the budget running the schools year-round versus running the schools with the summer breaks that you see, or?
The private schools are not included in this. I'm encouraging them to coordinate with us because obviously having both systems on the same calendar is going to be advantageous, especially for the private schools. So I've met with one principal and discussed this already, and we'll be meeting with the others to see if they are able to coordinate, which is why we're starting fairly early in the year, getting it started. The second question, I'm sorry, was what?
Is there
the
any
cost.
literature on the cost?
Actually, the cost will not be any different that I see. In fact, we'll be able to operate more efficiently. As what we're going to be doing is the teachers are on 12-month contracts with vacation leave to be taken whenever they want. What we are going to ask them to do is identify one of the intersessions as their vacation time. So when they take their vacations, it will not be time away from the classroom. Now, some of the intersession programs we offer may have a little bit of additional cost, but it's going to be insignificant. For example, some of our hopes are to have students work with the Rubak or Maasas in the Balu to learn traditional skills such as fishing and gardening, and we'll probably want to add a stipend for those people for their time. So the cost should not be a significant change. The number of days is exactly the same. The number of instructional days does not change.
Yaksal mo kasi mortang lelungil ba presidente ni las elabe bila tinakal minister sa challenge. Hindi ko sa hindi may tele dial lo taka soldado. Di sellera presidenta quasi alagi tikpitiri. Di was they are hereby authorized a necessary and appropriate action to extend said vessel and its crew members the courtesies and security required. So look why say necessary and appropriate action. Dia sel mo ko sa tiang rab lu tilgat exempt la quarantine te dia ngarai ye le el do ko necessary action le te pera tele queen fee ngang it mal dia clear ko what they're exempt from and what makadi ogel ko sa iba ko sa dim nakal metal bilas di ulgumong meng ora clorar ngi ala blu waseng ngramal seldo ko sa i mega exception ng or make ngra bulgul
Ramal masora malungil kere I need to find out the waseng ragagid yel korawal exemptions. But my understanding is for this particular guk maldigirel tegid yem lodia kalmeltial malkol girel say dal is it tegid yem legirel me emla opos al dial USS Frank Cable dik by Kildal Mora ang kagitali Director Worship wase ngara kora ani exemptions ra ko ra Ministry of Health.
Ti mo ay silwa segel for exemptions silwa dagat mok le oto for tokolega gidal kora karupa autoila ngil adura between gidal pelau ma gidal arrangement inya mo magatmok la exemptions el timing kora mal early dal sab edalo ay plakatak kag masay mayal exemptions ang mongrang tiagidem na obos so I'm pretty sure ang lumutan nga niya mo deeper discussion inya mo plakatak lagi kidal alto
and then di po sa Minister of Finance ko kung marara CIQ but since we'll be back next week Wednesday I'll make sure mo may get information of me ay sarap was sel ladur mo ay gigidiyal ngaranga kel kurawayal other waivers are in place. So lang.
Mal magmala insir kami yung southern molobe sa igal question na arablu. Tiang questionin mo ra Director Warswiger. Kulway sa mutal flight na Taiwan and mem na niya fully vaccinated passengers. Itiriyal ures tadim lak. Kadamle vaccinated tira talbelaw.
Why say them le vaccinated tier upon arrival at the airport?
Tomar malubendia.
Say already will see sabara sel arrangement package sa dalawan three.
Matirga tourist.
Travel bubble.
Mansulang Tiamora Minister Jenkins. How many parents do they have at Sonsorol and Puluana. How many teachers and parents do you?
Two.
How
Two
many
teachers
parents
at
there
each school.
at Sonsorol?
Parents?
Yeah, the parents
that-
of those two.
I know that the number, I only have the total number of population. I don't have the number of parents. I'm assuming it would be somewhere between 12 and 14.
You know, they are just curious because you have two students and they say that they are children of a teacher. So they want to know if those two students in Sonsorol are their parent is a teacher.
I can look that. I can check on that for you. I don't know that actually.
Thank you, Minister Jenkins. There was an article in Island Times last week regarding the principal of Belao Matangay School. She said that the Ministry of Education suspended her for 1 month or more. Do you have the legal authority to suspend a teacher at a private school? And how do you rectify that problem?
That information is not correct. The Ministry of Education took no action on this matter because it's a private school matter. Our authority is only in the public schools.
Thank you. You announced earlier that you moved the specialists who were at the office at the ministry to be in the classroom. And you have announced that the earlier school round will begin next school calendar year. And what have you done with the restructure or the reorganization of the Ministry of Education? Or can you explain the difference in the responsibility between the Bureau of Administration and the Bureau of Curriculum?
Oh yes. Yeah. Let me take that question first. Essentially, the Bureau of Curriculum Instruction is dealing with matters of education. In other words, the actual courses that are being taught, the materials that are being used. The Bureau of Educational Administration is dealing with more of the physical nature of the schools, buildings and grounds and personnel. So there is some interweaving, and some people, they have authority over both in some cases. But essentially, as you pointed out, the specialists work directly underneath Director Ida in curriculum instruction. Now they are being put into the classrooms, but they're not being put in there directly as teachers. They're being put in as mentors and assistants and evaluators, so that they are using their expertise at this time in trying to improve the quality of our principals and giving them specific curriculum and specific type of leadership skills. Then they work also with the teachers. So it's a new project, and we had a very good meeting on it, evaluating the how it's going so far this year. And we are satisfied, but we're not too happy about it yet. We think we're not making enough progress as much as we had hoped. So we may have to delay our evaluation until after Christmas.
In the past, the principals of all the school seem to be under the Bureau of Administration. Would you rearrange that or reorganize it? How are you going to do it?
We are, again, there are different hats that are being worn by principals. Technically, as of the existing organizational structure, principals are under the Bureau of Educational Administration. They are not going to be that way as far as curriculum is. It's vague and it's unclear, and I agree with you on that. That where's the division between curriculum instruction and the Bureau of Education Administration? Where do they meet and where do they overlap? With principals have two roles. One is they're the educational leaders of the school, so that deals with curriculum and instruction. And secondly, they're responsible for making sure that the schools are safe and able to handle the education, which comes under the Bureau of Educational Administration. And I'm afraid in the past that has been blurred quite a bit, but we're straightening it out right now, and we're going to be submitting a restructuring of the ministry by January. It's taking a little bit longer because it's taken me longer to figure out how it works. There are some vague issues, and there's some things that are going to be moved around much more than people would expect.
Thank you very much. Maybe we'll come back to you in the next few weeks.
Great.
I got two question mora Vice President ladam redil ngania incidental di lubra di ursel time material terul police la lopte marang edarak dinga nga police ludamil lulaba kelol melbalol mlomois rablurang remlungu yakura dirga ka agora ebulis
the national government. I mean nga tele Ministry of Justice.
Agora dirga ka ngral du benim to gora oget na sigabu mo gera Vice President el Minister of Justice mo ngani agora uriol kirel malu bengukti mo to mo ka dengan mo diagal el issue.
Sa mo mas kakaklel after kakam announce so mga information mo lang.
Oy ngani al mutelwan el girel sel geisra Jack Meltel, el gomeseni na raport calendar en gable el fair ngira judiciary, en lo selo through a grievance process, emergong temiltigenit plaseng sebel mutel morior. En di judiciary adim laglek ngerni, emne askara officer attorney mo prosecutor ngi, malu emom tera court. Sebem mo kora explain tira el amalo ben nexel maradra public bolonet mo magaragar grile sebel gu kasainra malu ben askra attorney general's official el magais el nia involvement
Yes.
yo wangara judgment el girel
Oy. Out ngale pok so dilul tuira information kila Attorney General. Malokong hindi ka isa tel babier hindi lokong ngania either rules and regulation or there's authority al sab el kale Attorney General alokong pay girel lom te era judiciary ra sila legal grievance panel matila algay samlo ra grievance panel in one girel reinstated Mr. Jack Meltel ang niya ra judiciary. And the judiciary may choose to appeal the case. So now it's up on appeal. Understanding na kasi Attorney General is handling the appeal for the judiciary. We are kakarosal branches of government. So sewok nga judiciary, but yes, I understand those it's ngora seldoreng sining ngora adiakal lungil ra otro nga set. Basta kati alam mo look up ngira may respond to your next Wednesday ay di ako ti kuligera Attorney General ng YSL kora seldrang sing kora matar absura ul swet makuligera ngi wasen dia kang nga ang lool basis upon which and the oringi appeal long era judiciary. So if I can get back to you.
So lang Madam Vice Presidente te agora last mora Security, National Security Coordinator. Ngoram la postpone sel omrolel tiale, de al soldan me giren ngani atul. El diria soldan me sois per el week, ma next week. Nda sebem lo ay pungara ulmang na postpone wang expectation na gid al disia military me sois per el mol mu tragal mel few months.
Sulang Salvador. Sel me postpone Tomes ringira December. El mutel me. Garing sel dialra US Coast Guard el direct mer el alweek. And di kumesra schedule ng dital seguid el clol dial el menegir el mea schedule del mera. Tomesra December.
Dia kango del schedule el military vessels.
India.
Dita ayuda kaya Coast Guard del mer el alweek next week.
Yes. Follow-up question le Minister Jenkins. Before I do the clarify sel question sel article Island Times sel other Mr. Salvador said yakal dulu sa ministry amle terminate ngel principal amle request logi wa lerer al morapor teringi I'll ask for a leave of absence. So that's say a clarification. And you mentioned the minister was a tegal sense ang 12-month contract. Mang tilambal gula sa tega na modang civil service tamura contractor sense.
No, we're making no change as to their status in the civil service yet. So they'll remain under their existing contracts.
Contracted there under a civil service?
Yes.
Okay. What do you mean by 12 month?
12 month?
Yeah.
Well, they have a 12-month work arrangement with the government.
Within that contract?
Yeah, they have time to take leave, of course, but the contract runs for 12 months.
Okay. Just to clarify, yung morula separate al contractor tega di maintain ang civil service.
Right, that's what we're doing. The confusion comes in because most teachers work 10 months rather than 12 months, and so there's that gap in it. But we're trying to work on that. But as of right now, there's no change at all.
Okay, so lang.
Minister, sila OBF, kilala OBF, kaya ko siyempre donate temila PNCC ra live streaming maragui di taramal ne complaint ada lulu kulo dim na kasi mo tolo sele 3000 adal na saya wala dim no fab oklage mada stream no da sila mesa gal bilang loy la sela next time en sibil telgivel amara pencil extender ni alu amara targa mama gi extender cell streaming mo kamal leng song sa pachet kamle klaba chetel imla mo sparing
ya mal masaule qoakla rablo ay sending direct mal masaula PNCC guk no muskit sel time up to 5 le se direct al dibel extender temir adang arsi se mlege mo mrega 6:30 7:30 8 o'clock makti direct mal masaula tilal observation rakaw Rema next el gibo moruria gimo consider tila gidele proposition rakaw ma direct mal mrega sula PNCC kom dia mal masaulo ay gagida mal uspaal ko try and improve for the next ko mal masaulo
te gida laste madam vice president mora minister of state tangari agor oger la setirgel government employees el laureat al OBF tomomla overtime alubendia
sebo ngara budget ngara budget kal maseng gim estimate overtime tir rogul adam no involved tira $1 tir mo mo temela ur ko spare tir maseng most likely we will pay the overtime tira ma mle bulk tel organizing committee mo gimo mes budget o mes most likely we will pay the overtime sula
Ato para birthday announcement sa maldi ko nga suli ra support ta kami wan mora Ministry of Justice sa employees sa Ministry of Justice sa Director Agon ya malora nga suli may Mr. Talam sa milungoy wang clear tirgel nga Police Academy. I think isul umuy wang clear tamal mo ko ra feel was there atrablo ang mga punta nga Police Academy so they have to put on their best behavior o kore mal ko ra plakarindir ngartegi the Police Academy man sa supporter kami madalo ay set por el birthday announcements tokubet sa nga birthday announcement elangan mo Minister Gustav Aitaro happy birthday mura Mr. Reinhardt Silas nga Ministry of Finance mura ramurang alul nga Ministry of Education mamura Mr. Patrick Tabluwal radira nga Ministry of Education mang tirgay gidi mamita ka happy birthday matiro ko so please join me. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear minister and government employees. Happy birthday to you. وهذا قومال مسؤولان قوين إذا مرات إذا قلت إذا الكلوز تال press conference إذا قومال مسؤول هذا ميديا راوني للquestions رقمي وقلت إذا الجوك ما قبتها next week Wednesday ذي قال دورنا سولي رقول other بلا وق قراميسن بالقرص التينيك سبلو القنا فاميليال وسدورنا سولي لا ديوس را مختقرني للي المو other بلا هذا قبل مقاسايم بالقول كده قد كاكلي قصب أكلي قبل تيجرين and that note تكيل دالمورا Mr. Blas for close.
Okay, madalo ay siya dilberi tiang ikul musum ermiu goman lumsaura total murmar elang yak direkal invite ermiu ra next Wednesday buk mebenged gurang suli la PNCC ma TMC ma PWFM ma direkal tiabelau ma Island Times el partnership kita damrur tel press conference every week gurang rakmalungil sit sila gormiu ngayel omaringi Pwede ulgo yung mortel bitang ang real bela mo pala bangkit tili ng studio. Malumsaw le have a good day.